Has America already fallen into fascism? Check it out. Leave your comments, ding the bell, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. Jenny in Spokane, Washington. Hey, Jenny, what's on your mind?
Hi, Tom. So I'm just wondering if we are not already a fascist state. We have political campaigns paid for by corporate donors. We have corporate CEOs appointed to the head of government agencies. It just seems like we've already crossed the line.
It depends on how you define fascist. We are already an oligarchy, and you know, which is the point of my new book, The Hidden History of American Oligarchy. Oligarchy is when government ceases to do what the people want and only pretty much does what the oligarchs want. And the Republican Party is 100% committed to oligarchy. They only serve the interests of the very, very wealthy. They'll toss an occasional bone to racists and gun nuts and anti-abortion freaks, but by and large, that's just to get enough people to vote for their pro-oligarchy agenda. About a third of the Democratic Party now is also pro-oligarchy. You're seeing this with Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, writ large. I mean, they're just proud of it, that they're toadies in the pockets of big coal and big bank and big real estate. And in fact, I was thinking over the weekend, we use this word moderate to describe politicians like Sinema and Manchin. In my opinion, the word moderate simply means corrupt. And so we've got, a handful, a substantial handful of corrupt Democrats and an entirely corrupted Republican Party, and they're not even moderate, they're nuts. But to move from oligarchy to fascism, and this is a really important point, Jenny. Oligarchy, Gillens and Page's study back in 2014 found that before the Reagan Revolution, government regularly did what the majority of people wanted done. People wanted Social Security, they got it. People wanted Medicare, they got it. People wanted Medicaid, they got it. People wanted long-term unemployment insurance, they got it. They wanted Pell Grants for college, they got it. On and on and right, housing supports, they got it. Welfare programs, food stamps, what people wanted, people got. Post-Reagan Revolution, that's just stopped happening. And while the vast majority, over 70–80% of Americans want a national health care system that's cheap, if not free, want college to be free and student debt to be wiped out, want a minimum wage of $15 an hour, want a government guarantee of jobs if you can't get anything, if we're in a recession or a depression, and on. I could go through the list. While the majority of Americans want that, none of that is happening and hasn't in 20 years. That's a sign of oligarchy. Now, the problem is that oligarchy is a very unstable form of government because the people aren't getting what they want, but you still technically have a democracy. So what happens is into this oligarchic moment, in almost every single case, steps a populist. That is to say, a person who tells the people that he or she will give them what they want. That Bernie Sanders did that truthfully, saying, I'm going to give you unemployment insurance and health care and free education, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Donald Trump stepped into that also with populist rhetoric, saying that he was going to raise taxes on rich people, bring back factories from overseas, and provide everybody in the country with very, very low-cost health care that was better than Obamacare. These were all lies that Trump was telling. And they were the truths that Bernie was telling and Elizabeth Warren, but nonetheless, that's the populist language that always happens during an oligarchy. Now, if the people elect the genuine populist, like we did with Abraham Lincoln in 1861, and like we did with Franklin Roosevelt in 1933, if the people elect a genuine populist and you get genuine populism, in other words, the will of the people is returned, then your oligarchy diminishes and you go back to being functionally a democracy. However, if the people elect the phony populist, as Germany did in the 1930s, and we could go through the history of fascism all around the world, but if you elect a phony populist and that phony populist succeeds in consolidating power, that power is used to turn the nation into a police state so that they can no longer be challenged politically. and or in the press or in the media. And typically, as soon as they've really consolidated power and start flipping the country into a police state, one of the first groups they go after the trade unions, the so-called socialists, the people who want things for the people, and the media. And Trump was setting that up. So that then is the transition from oligarchy into fascism. And Donald Trump had us on a path in that direction, and we are still right up against that wall. And if the Republicans in the United States Senate can continue to prevent the populist policies that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris ran on and are trying to govern with right now, if these Republican fascists can prevent those populist policies from happening, then in 2024 you're going to have again a recurrence of populism, and you're going to have Josh Hawley or Ted Cruz or Rick Scott or Tom Cotton out there saying, I'm going to get the people what they really want. They're going to be doing the same populist BS that Donald Trump did. And if they get elected, they will turn this into a fascist nation. And on the other hand, you're probably going to see another Bernie Sanders kind of figure. This time around, it'll probably be Elizabeth Warren or somebody else altogether who is going to be taking on Harris and Biden, saying, no, wait a minute, you guys weren't able to pull it off. And it's all because of the damn filibuster, because Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin are insisting that the filibuster stay in place so that their special interests are protected by the filibuster. And as a result, all of American democracy is crippled. So that's my take on it, Jenny. Did I answer your question?